the thing that's biggest for me, mindset-wise, going into this split, that wasn't the same before, was a lot of confidence and also not playing with fear. Naturally, I'm a limit tester. I just like to full send it whenever I get the chance to, or like, I've seen a lot of angles because of how much I played the game. I know the limits.
Plus 35 CS, dive into mid lane, and Insanity just wipes Balulu off the map. TSM goes straight for the throat. Honestly, this squad's looking pretty good, man.
When I first got into the LCS with Immortals, I did think that I would be here forever, but I do think that it wasn't based off performance at that time. It was just based off my own like ego, I guess, and what I believed in myself.
I've known Insanity since I was like maybe 13 or 14 years old. We actually played in some random ranked 5s teams together a very long time ago. So it was actually funny when I first got on my first LCS team with him. Insanity was always very creative. Like, he liked to play odd things a lot and try random things in the meta. He always wanted to just play something random. And that was just how he enjoyed the game. But Insanity had a very bad summer split on us, on Immortals. He kind of was the weaker link of the team toward the very end and had some poor performances in playoffs.
They go, Insanity's been ignited, and Insanity is down. 3-1 scoreline. TSM knock out Immortals.
For Immortals, end of the line, season over, and you know, you can see it still matters a lot to these guys.
When I first dropped from LCS to amateur or just no team in general, I was like just shocked. It was like pure shock. Everything that happened, just nothing made sense to me, I guess. And I just had to figure out a way to make my way back. And I think the thing that frustrated me the most was probably just knowing that I'm good enough to play in the LCS and still not having that chance, or like not continuing on with what I started off with. I just had to have the mindset that no matter what, I need to just keep improving, even if it's off solo queue or even playing against worse players. Like, I just needed to keep grinding and the opportunity will come again.
We are back and ready to kick off Summer Split. Let's pull up TSM. We're going to see probably Insanity week 1 in the mid lane.
For those that don't know, Ruby is actually their designated starting mid, right? But he was not able to be here at the beginning of the split, so Insanity is coming in.
I was kind of worried what would happen, and I don't know, I just found myself on TSM, which is part luck, but I guess when you get lucky, you just have to seize the opportunity and make the best of it.
Nice re-engage! VicLa's gotta try to run, but Insanity brings the distortion and walks away with a quadra kill. Double kill back from Insanity now. Solo is out of mana. Kidby's still looking to take the blue buff. He runs back into a face full of buckshot. Immortal just got cleaned up.
I think before, a lot of the time, I would play a lot less like myself, as I would in like either solo queue or scrims and stuff like that. When I played LCS games back then, I didn't really push myself to that limit. Nowadays, I'm just full sending it. If I think something is good or a play is going to go well, I will just go with it. If I int. If it goes well, then, you know, props to me.
Insanity jumps in, Fate stealed, and Tactical's down. Double kill for Insanity. TSM now 6-3 with Insanity in the mid lane. His backup mid laner.
Yeah, I'm right out here at the LCS studio. There seems to be news here, rumors that it's going to be Insanity starting this week instead of Ruby. The rumors have been confirmed.
I knew Insanity would find his way back. I think that getting demoted for him was maybe a good kick in the butt too. Kind of reignited him to work even harder and kind of push him to be the level he's at now. Sometimes in a player's career, they do need that to kind of push themselves to the next level.
Yeah, having this opportunity is definitely pushing me to grind harder. I want to be the best I can be, and I don't want there to be any regret left over at the end.
Welcome back to the LCS Lounge. Insanity has been popping off. FlyQuest has not been, but I did want to go over what FlyQuest can still do. This is FlyQuest's road to lock 8th place. Pretty simple. Win all of their games. The 2 teams above them basically lose almost all of their games, except remember, this first game, this is kind of a duplicate matchup, so it's very specific that either these happen or these happen. One of these teams has to lose all 3 of their games, and FlyQuest has to win all 3 of their games. Now, if that happens, let's look towards playoffs. what would they have to do in playoffs to win the entire split? Well, they'd have to win the first round, they'd have to win the next round, they'd have to win there, they'd have to win there, and they'd have to win in finals. And then they could be the champion. 3 games, 5 series. Pretty simple, right?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Although, I will say, if they lose literally this game, they're eliminated from everything. Nothing else matters. So either just win like 3 games and 5 series in a row or lose this game. Both of them will come to a conclusion, but one is a championship and the other means this season goes down in flames. Take it away, casters.
Perhaps a little hyperbolic, Mr. Chat, as I don't quite think it's championship or bust right here, but the bust is definitely true. I'm Captainflowers, this is Azael, and this is FlyQuest's last stand. You heard the man. They got to win out from here, and even then, it's not entirely in their control.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a really tough road for FlyQuest. The expectations for this roster coming to this split were incredibly high, right? Pretty much everyone I felt like had them in the top 2 for power rankings. So it's a shock that in an 8-team playoff format, they're probably not even going to make playoffs. It's going to take a miracle to get there.
It is frightening for them, and they're going up against TSM. I think this matchup is probably the 2 teams that, if you look at everybody's preseason power rankings, are both the opposite of where everybody expected them to end up.
Yep.
All of us had FlyQuest in top 3 and TSM in bottom 3. If I remember correctly, FlyQuest is down there fighting in the battle at the bottom, and TSM, with Insanity specifically, has been popping off and looking way better than anybody thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're 8-4 with Insanity, a really impressive record. You know, they did drop one last week, but TSM, I think, has been kind of blowing people away, myself included. You know, I had them 10th. I think, you know, most of the people, it was like the most common power ranking for TSM was 10th. And they have so far exceeded those expectations. I think Insanity has been a massive difference maker over Ruby, and people's expectations, I think, were a lot lower when this team was, you know, slated to play with Ruby, but Insanity has come in. He's made a huge difference for the squad. And I think a lot of the guys around him have really been stepping up as well. Bugi's having a great split. I think their bottom lane has been really impressive. I'm kind of blown away that WildTurtle, like 10 years into his career, you know, just hit the most games played in LCS all time. There's actually
Yes, we do. That's from, those signs were real. You called it.
Exactly.
In your video earlier this week.
The producers, they were roasting me.
Yeah, man. I got you. And you know what? I love the clip that we heard from Insanity where he said, yeah, I ended up on TSM, and maybe that was kind of luck, but I guess if you get lucky, you need to be ready to do everything you can with it. Yes, pick Skarner!
Wait,
that
so
would be lucky.
Is this a combined sign here? They saying I'm inting, so pick Skarner.
Well, I mean,
or is one guy inting and the other guy separately saying pick Skarner?
You've played with me plenty of times, Azael. Skarner's either 10-0 or 0-10. You're kind of once you're behind, it's time to just get this one over fast and go next. But let's see how the draft in front of us is about to play out here. We've got Renekton, LeBlanc, and Poppy banned out by FlyQuest. Ivern, Rel, and Azir banned out by TSM. It's a first pick Kai'Sa from FlyQuest. This has been getting massive amounts of popularity lately. TSM's going to respond with Tristana. We saw some Tristana clips in the highlight reel from Insanity, so I'm expecting that to go mid for him. And then Bugi on the Maokai.
It is also worth noting the Renekton ban is specifically a Hauntzer thing. He had played 6 straight games of Renekton, and they were doing really well on that stretch. And now back-to-back games, it has been banned out. He played Ornn. Then the Ornn got banned as well in that final game that he did play, and he went to Gwen. That was not a great game for them. So people have really picked up on the fact that Hauntzer, you know, is really liking the Renekton. And most top laners that I have spoken to do think that it is far and away his best champion, and that there is a significant drop-off after that Renekton. So we'll see if he can disprove some of that narrative and start having some really good games on champions that are a little bit different.
Yeah, we've got the Jayce and the Rumble locked in here for FlyQuest, so I'm expecting it to be Marksman Kai'Sa. Now, there is still a possibility of top Jayce, mid Kai'Sa, Rumble in the jungle if you want to get a little wacky, but I'm expecting it to be Rumble top, Jayce mid, Kai'Sa there in the bottom lane. TSM will go ahead and lock in Cassante there for the top side matchup, and we'll see how the second part of the bans go through here with the Alistar getting banned out first.
Yeah, with Alistar getting banned out, and you know, Rel is already banned away, so it is a bit interesting, but trying to pinch up his support pool a bit here. You know, there is potential to go for 5th pick, counter pick here for support, you know, for Chime, because we have been seeing so much more of that on red side. A lot of the teams are really valuing the 2v2, getting that support counter pick on red side, and trying to take control of the game from that, because it has been so much about bot lane these days, about the control. and about who can really, enable their bot lane to succeed.
Yeah, we've got a lot of focus on Engage here in the second half of the draft, man. Alistar and Rakan, Sejuani banned out by TSM, the Braum. So switching it up a little bit, still a meatball, but focus more on Disengage instead.
I think they might just grab Nautilus and pinch it even more, because I think it's like, otherwise I feel like a lot of support fans didn't really accomplish that much. If it is going to be Kai'Sa as a marksman and you don't pick Nautilus here, likely Vulcan would just go towards the Nautilus. I think that's such a strong pairing, fits well with their composition, especially with the Rumble as well, being able to have that lockdown. They are going to go Nocturne, though, so I am a little bit surprised, because I do think, if it is a Nautilus pick, as I'm expecting from FlyQuest, I feel like the support bans didn't really accomplish much of anything from TSM.
And you've also already got the Maokai locked in, so maybe some support Maokai action coming out instead. I don't expect to see Nocturne as a support.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is going to be Nocturne, in the jungle. So, we'll be flexing that around. There is possibilities of it being potentially, Nocturne, or rather Maokai top. Have seen some little bits of that, and K'Sante can be played mid, but very likely it would be that support Maokai that is much more common, is quite high win rate in solo queue. It is going to be that Nautilus given over, though, which I think is such a strong pairing, both of the Kai'Sa and the Rumble. You get that guaranteed point and click onto something like the Tristana. It sets you up really easily for a great equalizer across that lockdown member who's not going to be able to get out of it. And Amumu coming through. This was, Spica was playing this a little bit. I want to say it was back in spring that he actually was bringing out the Amumu and having some pretty good success on it. I'm actually just going to confirm that, how many times he played it in spring. Yeah, it was 100% win rate across 3 games in spring that he had played that. And again, it is, having that lockdown for that Rumble ult, which is so powerful.
Okay, we've got the final pick of the draft, the Neeko, going all the way to 5th pick red side after some of the nerfs to the champion. But this means that, yes, it's the Tristana down there in bottom lane. Not going to be the mid laner. Turtle's going to be piloting it there. It'll be Tristana and Maokai versus Kai'Sa and Nautilus in the bot lane 2v2. Neeko versus Jayce in mid. Nocturne versus Amumu in the jungle. And then the K'Sante versus Rumble matchup that we were expecting but not 100% sure on up in top side.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I want to say this is the first Maokai support of the split. I'm just trying to double check the stats. If this is updated, yeah, it is the first Maokai support of the split. That's the first one that I can remember. I don't even know if we saw one in spring. Maybe someone can give me a confirmation on that, but it's been a long time. It is, something that is quite popular in solo queue, but we haven't really seen it a lot in competitive ever since there was kind of some of those AP Maokai nerfs, because when AP Maokai kind of got those initial buffs, we were seeing a lot of support Maokai, people just doing sapling max and running around the map and just kind of harassing with that. Yeah, but we haven't seen it too much since then. I'm expecting it to be played, not that AP style, more as a standard engage support. Mostly when I see it, it is Guardian, it is Aftershock, it's that kind of style.
Even Shroud.
Are looking exactly even Shroud, you're looking for the hard engage, and you are building a standard kind of more tank style build.
And we've come into this talking about how much is on the line for FlyQuest, because they are at a must-win situation for the remainder of their games. But across the table, I don't want to ignore what's on the line for TSM too, because everything's so close in the melee that is the standings for this last week of play. And you really don't want to be in one of those last 2 spots that doesn't get a second series in playoffs, right? You started lower bracket automatically if you finish 7th or 8th. And so for TSM, you want to keep yourself in that upper bracket.
Absolutely. It is a tie between multiple teams right now. At 5th, they're tied with energy, so that is tied for 5th, 6th. Dignitas and 100 Thieves are 2 games back, but of course, if you have a bad weekend, it is possible that they could, leapfrog past you. And losing that upper bracket berth would be, definitely something that TSM would be pretty disappointed about. But they have been looking really good with this roster. Again, they're 8-4 with Insanity. They did have that 0-3 week where they brought in Ruby. So that is where a lot of those losses did come from. But if TSM can keep up this level, I think they're looking good to get up bracket.
And I mentioned earlier how both of these teams, for better and for worse on one end or the other, have not gone to expectation from the beginning of the split. And I think a lot of it is really focused on the mid laners specifically from both teams. Insanity being much better, much more effective than a lot of people were expecting. And VicLa also having a really tough split. People have kind of been joking on and off that after he got subbed out for that one game, his performances since have looked better. They unplugged him and plugged him back in.
Just got rebooted.
But I hope he's still rebooted for FlyQuest's sake, because everybody on this team is going to need to have a strong performance. I need to see Spring Split Prince, who's looking like that prodigy Korean AD carry that everybody was hyping up. I need to see Vulcan make
making those plays right next to Spica the whole time, this team has no more room for error.
Absolutely. I mean, there was so much conversation in spring about Prince, being an MVP, about being this absolute monster. I mean, he came in, and most people were saying that he was the second best AD carry in the LCK, performing even better than Gumayusi in the regular season. Obviously Gumi played really well internationally, and then only kind of behind, Ruler at that point. So he came over, he was incredible in spring, and there was so much hype around him, and it has really kind of tailed off because their performances haven't been what we had expected. To check back in on the Maokai, the last time it was actually played in the LCS was February of 2021 when Diamond played as support. So it has been a really long time. That was even longer than I had expected. But it is a pick that has been pretty prevalent in solo queue. Maybe not the most popular, but it is definitely a strong pick and has maintained a pretty high win rate for a long time. Oh, ouch.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt there early on, man. Rumble is so strong in these early lane trades. Even if you're taking something that's normally an effective duelist like K'Sante, if you run into a heated up flame spitter, you're gonna lose.
I mean, it's so hard when you are playing melee matchups versus Rumble. If you can't look for one of these kind of niche matchups that can go for 100-0 on them, they can look for the all-ins, it is so incredibly difficult because he outpushes you and then he harasses you when you're trying to actually CS. Every time you're trying to step up, he's going to be shooting the electro harpoons on you. It's just going to be hold positioning with the flame spitter, and burning you down, chunking you down. So it is very, very difficult. Impact is not playing the Ignite style. We have seen that a couple times, but I believe both times that we've seen Impact bring out the Rumble, he did do it with Teleport, the kind of more conservative option here. Lower risk, of course, but that does mean the Hauntzer doesn't have to be as worried about those actual solo kills and the all-in plays.
And I do like watching good Rumbles because I think it's one of those champions, because he's so unique in the way that he works with pushing the waves and having to use the directional capabilities of the Flame Spitter, that bad Rumbles can easily end up not getting nearly as much as you would expect because they're missing excessive CS, because they're not managing heat properly, because they overheat at the wrong time during a trade. It's one of the champs that you can really visibly see that skill expression.
Absolutely. I mean, to absolutely maximize the amount of damage you are dealing, with your harass while still not missing any farm is very difficult. So it is one of those things that definitely does set apart, the best Rumbles from the rest. And as you say, if you overheat at the wrong time, and especially if you need to be able to get off that ultimate and you cannot, that can be pretty devastating. We've seen that happen in the LCS. You see that happen around the world where people are not tracking their heat perfectly. They use all their spells, they're looking for the ultimate off of that, and all of a sudden they're silenced, and it goes pretty tragic.
A little unlucky in those situations. You can see bottom side here, Vulcan and Prince taking the control of the lane early on, pretty even in the CS with their opponents, but because they have all that priority, I'll want to see if FlyQuest decide to try to turn that into an early Drake, possibly an invade. But the thing is, you've also got the Amumu into the Nocturne matchup. Nocturne being a much better duelist there in the 1v1 could make things a little dicey. But Bugi's made his way into the top side now. He walks over a ward in the tri-brush. So Impact's going to know what's up. He's got the wave already crashing into the turret. It's the perfect time to back.
Absolutely. And he also did not actually use his teleport yet, right? Hauntzer has already used his TP. His Chime, nice little buffer on the Bramble Smash, knocks the Vulcan back so he couldn't get the follow passive auto. That was well played. But when you can actually chunk down Hauntzer to half HP after his teleport before you've used yours, it forces Hauntzer to take a second base. Because if he actually stays in lane there, what's going to happen is Impact's going to come back having spent up all his gold, and he's going to bully you out of lane.
Ooh, flash bandage toss from Spica forces a flash response from Insanity. I really like the timing of this too, because we're getting close to hitting level 6 on solo laners. You can see Impact already having hit that there in the top lane. Flash Neeko ulti is very deadly. You can make all kinds of plays with that. Getting that off of the table for the next 300 seconds there from Insanity is very big for FlyQuest.
Absolutely, it's a great trade. But, to check back in on the top lane, so Hauntzer had to take a second base to actually recoup his health to get back there so he wouldn't get pushed out of lane. He lost a full wave, so he missed another 6 minions there. He got XP, I think, on 1 or 2 of the melee, but missed XP on the rest of the melee, missed XP on all the ranged. That is going to put him at a pretty large deficit. He's already 20 CS down. We'll be able to recoup a small amount of that, but it is going to be about a 20 CS deficit on that top side and a worse purchase for Hauntzer. So Impact looking really good in the 1v1 thus far.
Yeah, even after farming up what was left of those minions underneath the turret, he's still down 17 farms. Sometimes when you see big numbers like that, it's like, okay, but there's 13 creeps underneath the turret. It's not that big of a deal. Unfortunately for Hauntzer, things are rough up there in the top side. And with level 6s coming online, like I said, with focus potentially being around this bottom side of the map, he might not be getting any help anytime soon.
I don't think they're going to be putting too much emphasis up on that top lane. Maybe if Impact spends the Equalizer, then Bugi can get up there post 6 and look for a kill, but it is a little bit dangerous if the Equalizer is available because those plays can get turned around very heavily, especially if Spica is playing behind him. So We'll see where TSM wants to spend that first Nocturne ultimate. I always feel like when you're playing Nocturne, it's so big.
Insanity goes in. They're ready for the follow-up from Bugi. VicLa with the flash away. 100 HP remains, and he makes his escape. But Insanity just finds the range to initiate there with a Pop Blossom, forcing the defensive summoner spell usage from FlyQuest mid lane.
That's actually so sad because the Nocturne was, I want to say, 1 or 2 minions off hitting 6. He actually just helped him push out the wave and got 6 right there. So if they could have delayed it a little bit, that is pretty much a guaranteed kill. And that's probably a situation where they're just not communicating the XP, because I think that if he just waited in the side brush and allowed Insanity to push it out, he could have got 6 and they could have got a kill for sure.
Well, Bugi now wanting to see if he can find something. Bottom lane instead. Prince trying to get back away with a cleanse. He'll escape that one. Bugi can't get in there in time. Remember, level 1 Paranoia range is actually pretty short, so he does have to get rather close. He needed to be close to that tri-brush. Pretty much on top of it for where Prince and Vulcan were. Now Spica's coming down. He's got his own ulti, but remember that he already used Flash earlier on, so he can't go for the Flash Bandage toss here on Chime. Bugi's going back into mid now. VicLa in trouble. Remember, there's no Flash from earlier, but the fear does not proc until Jayce is already safely underneath the turret. It's not good for Nocturne's first ulti to not be a kill. That feels real bad, man.
And that one felt like a bit of an overforce. Insanity didn't have his ultimate. You don't need to force on this window. So it feels like they really wanted to get one back because they know that they misexecuted slightly on that previous play. Hauntzer getting burned down, will be pushed back. But just look at the ultimate cooldown for Insanity, right? That's going to be up in 15-20 seconds. You could just wait for that time, and then that lands, and it's pretty much guaranteed. In this case, because VicLa had already procced the phase rush, yes, the fear tether is there, but VicLa created so much space with that phase rush, and yeah, the fear lands, but he's just sprinting straight away from you. It doesn't actually do you any good.
Right, it's one of those things where Nocturne loves Stride Breaker because it keeps you close and allows that fear to happen without the opponent being able to get a whole lot of distance. And yeah, Phase Rush is still going to be better against Stride Breaker just because of the nature of how it resists slows. But when you're just working with the base kit, that extra distance is too much. And now back in bottom lane, Turtle's getting some nice alone time here with a turret, knocking off that first plate, about half of the second one, as Chime just tries to keep Vulcan back. Important to note, Chime's still only level 5 here on the Maokai, so TSM's got to be aware of that. Bugi's still only about 1/3 of the bar left for the cooldown of the ultimate, so can't cast the Paranoia for another 50 seconds, man. That early cooldown on the thing is so long. It's why I said it feels so bad when you don't get a kill on the first one.
Yep, it's 130-second cooldown when he used it, so it is really brutal, especially if you have to use that first one before you purchase up any CDR, and it's going to feel very painful. So Bugi definitely going to be kicking himself that he wasn't able to get that first kill. Because really, when you play Nocturne, that's all you want to do is power farm. Your ult comes up, you go, you get a kill, back to power farming, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
That ward just expired beside them, so they know there's not any point in going for the play. They are going to be spotted out on it, I do believe. Well, Hauntzer, at least pushing out top side. It is still that 20 CS lead, but at the very least, it has not expanded from there.
Exactly.
And if you can actually maintain that, it's fine to be down farm as a tank. Yes, you do not want to be, but if he's not going to get killed off, then I think at the end of the day, it'll end up being okay.
You could see Impact missed the first Electro Harpoon there. It meant that Hauntzer had enough move speed to actually avoid what I'm guessing would be close to about 200 damage of Flame Spitter as he stayed just outside of the AoE. Spica hovering down here in bottom side. He knows that Bugi's ultimate is back up either now or very soon. So just as FlyQuest was getting this pushed up and checking the river, he wanted to make sure that his bot lane didn't get jumped.
And it's actually so key that you avoid one of those Electro Harpoons because both the slow and the magic resist shred stacks, right? So if you hit him twice, it's a 40% slow plus the 28% reduced magic resist. Then you can look for those kind of all-in plays as you hit him with both the Electro Harpoons, you overheat on your Q, you have the ulti going down, like all of these things happen at once, and that is how you just get melted by a Rumble. So it is key that he was able to avoid it because Impact had the equalizer coming up in a couple of seconds.
Prince with a recall here, pretty far forward, but it's because he has allies nearby, so they're thinking, okay, we might be able to outplay this if they make some sort of a move. They're not going to. Prince goes back for the recall. He needed to complete his static shiv because WildTurtle already had his fully built from a little while ago. They want to make sure those AD carries are on the same power spike.
Get a shiv, so I needed to go back and get my shiv too.
To have the same number of shivs as your opponent.
It's can't go into a shiv battle without a shiv.
It's just, you're not going to win.
No,
you're down a shiv.
Ridiculous.
TSM starting up the Drake. They got Insanity in this spot where Neeko loves to be for a Drake fight, being able to go in and punish when your opponents approach from that side. but doesn't look like TSM's going to hard commit to this. The caster minion, always got to count them. In every Neeko game, we got to count them.
How many caster minions are supposed to be in a brush?
Ooh, Insanity with the flash for the engage, and Bugi's ready to follow it up. It's first blood over to TSM, and they found it on the enemy jungler. Now I'm thinking it's green light for the Drake.
That was a really big kill. Get the first blood. It's on the enemy jungler, as you say, so they're going to be able to grab this dragon. FlyQuest had started to open up a pretty large gold advantage, but they're going to look for another fight.
Ooh, Vulcan just gets jumped on by Chime, but Chime's the one to drop. Nicely done from FlyQuest. TSM are kicking themselves for that one.
A bit of an overforce. They could have just taken the dragon there pretty much for free. Instead, they try to look for even more. They end up giving over a kill, and they're not answering Impact on the top side, so Impact is just knocking down plates here. Already has his Night Harvester completed, which normally in pro play, you're seeing a lot more Proto Belt. You're not seeing Night Harvester as much, but Night Harvester is a lot of damage, and it's a lot of ability haste here as well. It also gives you that 25% move speed when you actually do proc it. So it's really nice for chasing people down. If you get that fat overheat, you proc it up, you can really stick on top of some of these carries and burn them down.
And especially for somebody like Rumble, who almost all of his damage is damage over time, it just adds that little bit more kick for the upfront burst. If that equalizer hits all those targets at the beginning of a fight, it can look real nasty on the health bars. But TSM fumbling a bit after that first pick that they set up with Insanity's Flash Pop Blossom, and now FlyQuest have their jungler back on the table. Yes, they're standing on a ward, but they don't really care. Nobody from TSM is around to stop this. You can see the recall being completed there from Chime to go back to base. Bugi's nowhere in the neighborhood. Let's take another look at how this started with Insanity.
Yeah, the initial play is great. Insanity had avoided those wards. You know, he's going in on the flank. The caster minion. How many caster minions are supposed to be in a brush? Zero. There you go. One was in there. They knew something was up. They're trying to get out. They do get the first blood. It's on the jungler. This is where you just need to rush down that dragon. WildTurtle's already here. You have more than enough damage. But Chime feels he saw an opportunity with the Hex Flash to try to get a pit onto Vulcan. He goes forward, but it is just Vulcan there. VicLa arrives, Prince arrives, we're back to live, and Insanity's looking like he's gone.
He's trying to get away from the depth charge, but it ain't happening. Vulcan gets the kill. They wanted to give it to VicLa, but you'll still take a freebie. FlyQuest up over 2,000 gold.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to get probably a plate mid lane, if not two. We'll see if they go for more here on Chime.
Ooh, nice aim there with the dredge line from Vulcan, avoiding the terrain, but still connecting on target with the damage over the wall from VicLa's Shock Blast. That makes it the third kill of the game for Fly, but VicLa's now under pressure. Immediate follow-up from Bugi. VicLa just shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, he came down to actually help on that kill. You know, did get the Shock Blast damage down onto Chime. Likely Chime would have died either way, but wanted to roam to actually look for that assistance. And I just don't think was expecting K'Sante to make the move down towards mid lane. K'Sante gives vision to Bugi, so Bugi's able to execute on a trade kill back for his team. And it's a nice move from Hauntzer.
I might be a little bit too critical here, but I feel like the play is just walk back down into river, take the long way back to mid, go through the banana brush, and spin the extra 5 seconds, guaranteeing that you don't give TSM that opportunity for the counterpunch.
I absolutely agree. I think, you know, it's easy to see that, you know, definitely in retrospect, that would be the safe play, and I think he would have survived had he done it. But, you know, I can understand not expecting the K'Sante to be there as Turtle's just getting roasted.
Oh my goodness, Impact just cooks him. It's Yordle for dinner. And now TSM is trying to kill the chef. Can they get him? Bugi's gonna drop second. Impact says send more men. He is absolutely styling on these guys. They sent 4. Impact sent 2 of them back in body bag.
It's a 1v4 from Impact. He kills 2 and gets out alive and starts dancing on him. That is a rare moment from Impact. He is not usually a guy to be given the trash talk in game like that, but damn, that is a huge play for him. He already had a bounty before those kills because he was up so much gold from topside. May have gotten caught now.
They're trying it again.
Oh no.
Hauntzer dives in, but he won't find it. Now Chime is again just the victim of flame spitter damage. Impact is end of regular season. I need to qualify for playoffs. Impact right now. I walked past this man in the hallway before this game, and he was just stone cold, man. Not reacting to anything. He had his headset on. He was ready to go. He shaved his head a couple of weeks ago.
He's locked in.
The man is ready. He is focused. Watch it again.
Yeah, this was crazy. He just gets up on him with the flame spitter. Notice he tagged both of the electro harpoons, and then Turtle flashes out of that. But even if you flash out, if it touched you when you go down, there's still that initial debuff that lasts for a second or two. So that is going to be burning on him. And then Chime and Hauntzer are trying to come in, but they're just too late. Impact realizes he can just turn and fight, burns down Bugi. He's able to get that kill, then insult to injury. They still stayed around on bot side with 2 members, spent the ult from Hauntzer, and didn't get anything off of that. So pretty brutal exchange there, and now Hauntzer pretty far forward here, could be in trouble.
TSM put a lot of resources into just getting smacked in the mouth on that one. You know things are falling apart here for them. 17 minutes in, not even that, and it's 4,500 gold lead for FlyQuest. They want to make it even more here. TSM's bringing a TP into the bottom side. Insanity's ready to try to cut these guys off. FlyQuest recognize and want to escape off to the side. They immediately turn it right back onto Bugi, who dies instantly. Insanity's hooked back in with the dredge line. TSM can't do a thing, and FlyQuest have found their groove.
Nicely done here by FlyQuest. You thought that was going to be a pretty good play, but Prince now looking for something of his own.
It ain't done. Void Seeker into the killer instinct. Chime has to flash over the wall just to stay alive.
He's going to be able to get out of there, but a great trade again for FlyQuest, even in that 1v1 after they went out on the bot side. I thought the ulti coming in from Bugi, you know, with the TP from Sanity was going to be a good look, but FlyQuest retreated so quickly back into this corridor where the TSM members couldn't really follow up appropriately. And they didn't even end up needing the teleport from Impact. He arrived, so had it been a closer fight, they would have just gotten shredded by the Rumble as he came in. But TSM getting demolished here by FlyQuest. It is a massive lead now, not even 18 minutes in. 6.4K is the lead. And Impact is so rich. VicLa is so rich. You know, the top 3 gold members, you know, of the game are all the carries on FlyQuest's side. It's about a 2K lead for Impact in top lane. It's about a 2K lead for VicLa in mid lane. And a good 500 or so gold there down in bot lane for Prince.
The game is past the point where TSM have a say in how it's going to go. FlyQuest have to make some kind of an error because TSM have tried multiple different times now to make something happen. And I'm not going to fault them for trying because you can't just sit back and wait to lose, but it's not working unless FlyQuest give them more of an opening. And right now they're playing clean.
And it's really, really tough because I think a lot of the game plan with Nocturne, generally, you know, if you're dominating, you just force 5v5s and you just kind of dive backline and you win. But otherwise, as we're going to see, I think this should dissipate.
Yeah.
Generally, you know, if you're behind, you just start going to side lane and you just look for 2v1 plays. And you say, all right, we're just going to kill their side lane, or we're going to push out the wave. I'm going to camp behind you in this brush, or I'll follow you as you push this out. And then we're going to find a 2v1 where we're going to kill off your side laner over and over and over. But Impact created a massive lead in his 1v1, then expanded that lead to a point in the bot lane when he got the 1v4 double kill to where they can't even comfortably 2v1 him. I'm not thinking. So it's going to be really difficult for them to really have very many plays. You know, Bugi's options are super limited from this point, where it's like, do you even want to attack Impact when he has his ulti up? Probably not. No. And if you can't do that, well, you can't win 5v5 right now either. So what's the play? It's really just sit back, hope we can get farm, and hope FlyQuest messes up later on.
And so that's also where the pressure is, if I'm looking at this as FlyQuest, is making sure you close it out clean, making sure that you take this 6,000 gold lead. Coming up next is the part of the game where I often see teams that are in the lower half of the standings start to struggle. That 20-minute to 30-minute phase where Baron's on the table, you're trying to convert it into an early win, and you've got to do it in a way that doesn't end up just giving your opponents a chance back into the game.
Absolutely. Spica here on the coverage, but is in trouble.
Spica going to be jumped on by 3 now. Tries to get back away. Cover fire coming in from VicLa. TSM got no ammo, and FlyQuest brought the army. Bugi drops second. Hauntzer barely escaped. Now the damage back on a turtle as he rocket jumps over the wall, trying to get himself out as Insanity pops the Blossom, but it ain't gonna do a damn thing. Prince picks him up, and TSM loses Turtle to a long-range shock blast. That's 4 TSM bodies hitting the ground.
And meanwhile, Impact was cooking up Hauntzer. Hauntzer looked like he had to use his flash just to survive in the 1v1, so they're getting beat across the map right now. FlyQuest coming out angry here in week 6, trying to take down TSM, trying to make this miracle run happen for themselves. It's TSM trying to stay proactive on the map, though, down through bot side. They see Jayce out in the side lane. Spica was here to protect him, though, and it just takes them so long to do anything to him. They have no damage. That is the problem. Nocturne is really your only DPS, so as soon as Prince arrives, they cut down one. Turtle is here. They have the TP coming in from the Neeko, so they're trying to look for a turn with the Pop Blossom, but Hauntzer's already incredibly low. Turtle has to run, and Insanity just doesn't have enough gold to really make this happen. No. He is able to get the Pop Blossom on multiple members, but he's burst down, and Turtle is sniped on the backside. And as I said, Impact even forcing the flash out of Hauntzer in that 1v1. Now they're going to take the tier 2. It's nearly a 9K gold lead, and VicLa, he has had some really good games after being subbed out, came back, had a great game, The reboot is working.
Unplug them and plug them back in,
Yeah.
man. Anybody who plays video games knows the old
Blowing
school
the cartridge a
sacred
little bit.
strategy, and it's working for FlyQuest in the mid lane here. Even on that damage graph, you can see Impact technically did 0 damage in the last fight because he wasn't there, and his whole job was just chasing Hauntzer away at the very end. But he didn't need to. You know what?
Yep.
The 1v4 earlier, you can score a donut in this one. It's all is forgiven. All is well.
Exactly. Didn't need to TP in and couldn't because the Nocturne ult was there, so couldn't actually find that TP. But regardless, FlyQuest in full control. It is back-to-back Jayce games as well, if I'm not mistaken, from VicLa, and he has really been putting on a clinic in these last 2 games. So we'll see if FlyQuest can get something more, if they can continue to just dominate in this game, look to close it out. TSM going out to the side lane. They're going to look for impact again, I think, but this is a tough one, man.
If you're looking for impact, my advice is to just close your eyes because it might not be too pretty. Equalizer's down. Lots more damage coming in now as TSM still can't do it, but the turret has fallen, so Impact will too. Finally, they get him, but it took a 3-man play to get it done. Baron falls on the other side of the map. That's the trade. FlyQuest will take it.
Yep, they are going to be able to get that kill, but it cost them a lot. Turtle gets a turret bounty here in mid lane as well, but is now tagged by Prince, and Prince could look for the killer instinct, so I think Turtle's dead.
Yeah, Turtle. Oh, no, man. I can respect trying to Buster shot him away, but Kai'Sa right in your face like that, you're not even going to get the distance you need. Easy pick up there. AD carry 1v1 for Prince in the mid lane. Meanwhile, up in the top side, VicLa grabbing some more money for FlyQuest, picking up the tier 2 turret. 9,000 gold now, the lead for Fly.
It's a pretty enormous lead here, and it cost them a lot to be able to get that kill. It cost them the Baron, but it also cost them the flash from Bugi, the ulti from Bugi, the ulti from Chime, the ulti from Hauntzer, the ignite from Chime. It's a lot of resources to actually be able to take down Impact there. They did finally make it happen, but we will see what is next here for FlyQuest. You want to see with this lead a clean closeout. You want to see a pre-30-minute end. And that is kind of, to me, what you're going to be judging this team off of from this point is how cleanly, how quickly can you close out this game.
And it is nice to at least have Impact dead as that Baron is being taken, since he likes to be in this split push situation. You're at least not going to have those Baron minions enchanted unless somebody else is with him. But back in mid lane now, he's continuing to keep the pressure on Hauntzer. You can see Spica just shadowing off to the side. They know that, hey, if you send 3 guys, Impact might die alone. But if Amumu's there to press R, all of a sudden it's an Impact triple kill.
Absolutely. You just have them locked down in that equalizer. It is going to absolutely tear you to pieces. TSM just trying to look for trades. They don't feel that they can actually defend the tower, so they're just trying to get a turret bounty up on top side, but it is going to be 2 inhibitors traded for a tier 1 turret bounty. And FlyQuest are positioning to continue pushing forward here. I think they can look to threaten Nexus turrets, so I don't even know if the top lane tier 1 is going to go down.
Yeah, Insanity is going for the recall. He wants to get back now, but there's already a Nexus turret out of the picture. Maokai ulti flies out, locks down only 1 from FlyQuest, and it's only the support. Paranoia dropped by Bugi, but the equalizer from Impact's gonna do a whole lot more. Insanity's already in stasis, Spica doing the same. Turtle melts, Insanity can't escape. Bugi's hit with a depth charge, and he won't be able to make it back to the fountain before VicLa breaks his jaw with the hammer. It's a double kill back over to FlyQuest mid laner. They are not down yet. They will not go quietly. FlyQuest taking out TSM in 25 minutes.
FlyQuest keeping the hope alive for the miracle run here. For them to make it to playoffs, they're going to need to win all 3 of their games, and then they're going to need some help from their opponents. But at the very least, they get the job done here today. A dominant win over TSM. It's definitely something that can build a little bit of that hope for the FlyQuest fans.
It feels good on this one. Impact in particular, standing out with that 1v4, with winning the lane, dominating the lane. So much pressure out of him this game. But like you said, VicLa is continuing to play well. The bottom lane was getting things done. Spica also having good ultis, being where he needed to be to shadow the lanes. The team's finally coming together. The problem is the clock has already struck 11, and it's only marching forward. Time is limited here for FlyQuest, but they're showing up when they got it.
Absolutely, and we'll see if they're going to be able to pull off, the miracle. It would be an incredible run, because if they made it into playoffs from this position, if they have a 3-0 week, if they look really good, if they make it into playoffs, honestly, it doesn't matter if you're 1st or you're 8th. Teams will be scared of you. It's going to be about that final form that you are in. And we know that FlyQuest, people have talked about it all split long. They've been really good in scrim, so people still have some respect for them.
Well, with FlyQuest turning things on here in this game, it's time to join Raz and Impact on stage for the Verizon post-game interview.
Hey, congratulations, Impact, on the win.
Thank you.
Wanted to get a quick interview with you because you dominated this game in lane, and there was that That was the double kill bot lane in a 1v3 situation. How'd they feel?
I got confused because I thought they know it can kill me. Like after Tristana get chung, like I just gone. So I thought like they're trolling because Maokai was too far to die me that timing, and Tristana really want to get turret. So I saw the anger and like nah, that's not good for them. And after. I can 1v2 again, but I misplayed my ulti.
So you're down on yourself because you do more. You could do more.
Yeah?
Okay, so tell me about the preparation coming into this week, because the chances for FlyQuest, I don't know if you've been shutting it out, but like it seems like it's going to be a really tough run getting into that top 8 position in the playoffs. What was your team's preparation like going into this week and your own preparation?
Honestly, I don't care about like my team like that much because like it's not like that mean. Like if I care team too much, then I cannot care myself more. So I'm trying to focus myself more about I should not get depression. Like 3% chance, 3% still.
Yeah.
I mean 3% is actually chance. So
yeah.
And I just try my best. That's my job, you know.
That sounds good. Any message to the fans out there? Because it seemed like focusing on yourself definitely was able to get you a win on this one. So just a message to the fans.
I mean, yeah, cheer for us. That's all. You know, I really do.
For us. There it is. More wins coming in like that. Thanks a lot, Impact. Again, 100% congratulations on that win. And we're going to be going to a commercial break immediately after. NRG versus Cloud9 following this.
Gotta count them.
How many caster minions are supposed to be in a brush?
Ooh, Insanity with the flash for the engage, and Bugi's ready to follow it up. Its first blood over to TSM, and they found it on the enemy jungler. Now I'm thinking it's green light for the Drake. Tries to get back away, cover fire coming in from VicLa. TSM got no ammo, and FlyQuest brought the army. Bugi dropped second. Hauntzer barely escaped. Now the damage back at a turtle as he rocket jumps over the wall, trying to get himself out as Insanity pops the Blossom, but it ain't gonna do a damn thing. Prince picks him up, and TSM loses Turtle to a long-range shock blast. That's 4 TSM bodies hitting the ground.
Essa aqui tu não aprendeu na PEN não, irmão. Essa aqui tu não aprendeu não.
An ace for Pain Gaming.
Celebrations are always fantastic in the CDL.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
With Verizon's new My Plan, I get exactly what I want and only pay for what I need.
Now I'm in charge of my plan.
Introducing My Plan from Verizon. You get exactly what you want and only pay for what you need. And it all starts at just $30. It's your Verizon.